A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Five bells. Stand by all stations.
Attention, all districts. A 5-alarm fire. 5 bells move in immediately.
That's it. Let's go. Let's go. Firefighters. Presenting Firefighters, the true-to-life story of our unsung heroes who stand ready to ride by day or night against our most murderous enemy, the demon of fire. In just a moment, we'll join Tim Collins and Chief Cody in the cabin of the big plane that's flying westward toward Plum Valley, where they plan to visit an old friend of the Chief's, Tom Culpepper, owner and editor of a weekly newspaper. Both the Chief and Tim feel the need of a vacation, and they're looking forward with warm enthusiasm to the holiday in the little town. As night came on, and the Chief dozed in his seat, Tim was tersely summoned to the pilot's compartment by Lance Lorenzo, the chief pilot. For what strange reason, we'll learn in just a moment, right after this message. Let's go, firefighters. Let's join Chief Cody and Tim Collins in the cabin of the big 4-motored plane that is carrying them westward to Plum Valley for their holiday visit with the Chief's old friend, country editor Tom Culpepper. Fire and firefighting are the farthest from both their minds. As completely relaxed, the Chief dozes in his seat, and Tim gazes out the porthole at the night-blackened sky and the stars. Suddenly, his attention is drawn from the porthole by the opening of the door to the pilot's compartment. The face of Captain Lorenzo, the chief pilot, appears, lined with anxiety. He beckons to Tim, who rises and goes forward to the open door.
Did you want me, Captain?
Yes, Collins.
Chief Cody, I see he's asleep.
Well, yes, he dozed off a little while ago.
Awaken him. Tell him I want to see him.
Why? Is there something?
I haven't got time for questions now. Just awaken him, please. Tell him I want to see him immediately.
Oh, yes, sir.
Oh, and Collins.
Yes, sir.
Do it as quietly as possible. Try not to arouse the other passengers.
Oh, sure thing, Captain. I'll get him right away.
Making his way down the narrow aisle of the darkened plane, Tim gently shakes the Chief.
Chief, wake up.
Tim. Are we to Plum Valley already?
No, sir. Captain Lorenzo, while you were sleeping, called me up to the pilot's compartment. He wants to see you. Immediately, he says.
The pilot? I wonder what he wants of me.
He didn't say, sir, but he seemed a little tense, as if something...
I better go right up. You stay here, Tim. I'll be right back.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Chief Cody. Huh? Sorry to disturb you, but you'd better step in, I think.
Oh, sure, Captain. Not much room in this little cubicle of yours, but I guess I can squeeze in.
Now then, the reason I called you, little emergency.
Yeah, trouble?
I don't know. A few minutes ago, our fire control indicators here suddenly lighted up. Showed there was a fire back in the aft baggage compartment.
Uh-oh.
I sent Bobby Bunker, my co-pilot, back to investigate, after pulling the CO2 system, of course.
Well, isn't he back yet? Hasn't he reported?
No, that's what bothers me. I can't leave controls to go back and investigate. That's why I called you, the only one I know aboard.
Want me to take a look, huh? Well, I'm glad to, Captain.
Good. You better have Peggy Taft, the stewardess, accompany you. She's
right.
good in an emergency. Maybe she can help. Frankly, I'm worried about Bunker. That CO2 sometimes has a bad toxic effect.
Yes, I know. I've had many a man knocked out with it. As I understand it, you have an automatic system on board the plane. Is that right?
That's it. If there's a fire anywhere on the plane, it'll show on this master control panel here. Then all we have to do is pull the CO2, and if it works, it should douse the fire in seconds flat.
If that co-pilot of yours walked in while that stuff was working, there might be some bad effects.
Yeah, that's just what worries me.
I'll go investigate immediately.
Oh, and Chief.
Huh?
Don't have to tell an old firefighter this, I know. But don't let word of this get to the passengers, will you?
Well, of course not, Captain.
Thanks.
No use exciting them needlessly. I'll be right back.
Rising to the emergency like the old smoke-eater he is, Chief Cody makes his way down the aisle toward the aft baggage compartment, followed by the stewardess whom he's told about the emergency. Opposite Tim's seat, he stopped.
Tim.
Oh, yes, sir. What is it, Chief?
Come with us. I got a job. May take the 3 of us.
Well, what's up, sir?
Well, never mind. Just come along. Miss Taft here, the stewardess, will help us.
Yes, sir.
Now then, Lorenzo's got trouble. This automatic fire indicator system shows there's a fire here in the baggage compartment, right behind this door.
A fire?
Yes, and Bob Bunker, the co-pilot, went to investigate and hasn't returned.
Yeah. Lorenzo pulled the CO2 system, which automatically floods the compartment.
Holy smoke. That CO2's bad stuff when you work with it in close quarters.
Well, that's what we're afraid of. Come on, we're going in to have a look.
Okay, sir.
Miss Taft, you stand outside. I'll just crack the door.
Right, sir.
Oh, just what I figured. It's pretty strong.
Did you see Bob?
No, but chances are he's out cold. Come on, Tim. Take a big, deep breath. We'll try it again.
Yes, sir.
Wait here, Miss Taft. We'll call if we need you.
Right.
Oh, God, it's pretty bad, all right. Say, Chief, the fire's still burning.
Yeah. Still smoldering in the baggage over there.
Here's a co-pilot out on the floor.
Tim, we've got to act fast. This thing can endanger the lives of every passenger aboard.
Don't I know it?
First, get this man out. There's an empty seat. Right outside the door.
Yes, sir.
Put him there for now. Don't attract the passenger's attention. He'll come around as soon as he gets there.
Right, sir.
Then run forward. Get a hand extinguisher from Lorenzo.
Yeah.
I'll stay here. See if I can't smother it with these blankets here.
Yes, sir. Okay. Want to give me a hand with him, Chief?
All right.
All right, I got him. Open the door.
All right.
Is he out, sir?
Yes, but you come around. Here. Ease him into the seat, huh?
Right over here.
Yeah. That's it. Miss Taft, take charge of him.
Right, sir.
Now, Kim, hurry. Get that extinguisher.
Yes, sir.
Quickly, without arousing the attention of the other passengers, Tim goes forward to the pilot's compartment. Briefly reports the situation to Captain Lorenzo, who gives him a hand extinguisher and wishes him luck. Back in the baggage compartment, Tim eases the door open.
All right, I got it, Chief. How's it going?
She's a stubborn blaze. She's burning down under this pile of stuff. Can't seem to get at it. Give me the extinguisher.
Yes, sir. That's why the CO2 didn't work properly. Fire's protected by all this baggage.
Blaze and blisters with a small extinguisher. There's hardly enough to do any good.
Well, here, Chief, I'll try to move some of this stuff.
Good idea.
Yeah. All right, there, Chief. Yeah, play it right in there.
It's deeper than that, I'm afraid. No, just what I was afraid of. All played out. What I wouldn't give for some of the big equipment on a truck.
Extinguisher's empty and the fire's still burning.
Quick, Tim. Go forward for some more.
That's all there is, Chief. I asked Lorenzo, but this is the only one he had.
Oh, what luck. Come on, we'd better go forward. Tell Captain Lorenzo. Can't fight a fire without equipment.
Yes, sir. Well, what'll we do, Chief? I mean, how'll we put it out?
I don't know what the captain will do. But if I was running this plane, I'd begin looking for a place to land. And fast.
Leaving the fire smoldering in the baggage compartment, Tim and the chief hurry to the pilot's compartment. After hearing the chief's report on the seriousness of the situation, Captain Lorenzo says,
That settles it. We've got to get down somewhere, and it's got to be quick.
That's what I'd say, too, Captain. Though I think we're safe for a while yet. That fire may only smolder. Now, keep the door shut tight.
I'm not so sure, Chief. Something's happened to my tail controls. What? Having trouble keeping her on an even course.
Oh, brother.
Fire may have got to the after controls.
Yeah, I thought it felt a little bumpy. Well, what are you going to do, Captain?
Radio ahead to the next city for instructions on where to land. And it better be somewhere near.
Hold it. She's getting pretty rough.
Hang on, men.
Tim, let's grab something. Grab something.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, it is rough.
Hurt your kid?
No, I fell up against the instrument panel. I guess I'm all right, though.
Good. But... Uh-oh.
Huh?
That fall of yours sure fixed the radio. She's dead as last week's news.
Oh.
Yeah, let me try the emergency transmitter. Oh, that's out, too. Fuses must have gone when you fell against the panel. I can't leave the controls to replace them.
Oh, good grief. What's that mean, Chief?
That means, gentlemen, that we're on our own. With the ship on fire.
Well, it looks like the demon of fire has followed Tim and the chief even on their vacation trip to Plum Valley. With the radio out of order and no means of getting instructions about where to make an emergency landing, Captain Lorenzo has a real problem on his hands. To learn how he meets it with the aid of Tim and Chief Cody, be sure to listen to the next thrilling episode of The Firefighters. And now, in just a moment, Fire Chief Bob Cody will tell all of you boys and girls how you can help the firefighters right in your own hometown. But first, let's listen to this important message. And now, Chief Bob Cody with a special notice for the Firefighters Brigade. Chief Cody.
Hello, boys and girls. Can you folks imagine how much $1 million is? A lot of money, isn't it? If stacked in $1 bills, it would fill a room the size of your living room right up to the ceiling. Now then, try to imagine, if you can, how much $700 million is. Almost more than the mind can grasp, isn't it? And yet, that's how much it costs the country every year in fire losses. $700 million. $700 million consumed every 365 days by the demon of uncontrolled fire. I tell you this to impress upon you the great importance of doing everything you, as individuals, can do to help prevent fires in your town. For as I've told you many times, what burns never returns. Well, that's all for now. Till I drop in next time. So long.
Fire Chief Cody and the young rookie fireman Tim Collins will be back on the same station the next time you hear...
That's it. Let's go!
Let's go!
Firefighters!
In just a moment, X-1. But first, some of the funniest situations you've ever witnessed occur every Wednesday night when the devilish imagination of MC Jack Bailey gets to work on NBC's Truth or Consequences. You won't believe it until you hear it, so listen in tomorrow. Then another laugh session is in store later on with the wise and witty Groucho Marx as he and contestants play You Bet Your Life. While the melodic note in your Wednesday evening schedule is music and fun on Airtime with Giselle McKenzie.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000 could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X-1. Tonight, the Mark Clifton story, Star Bright.
Well, it's finally happened. I've known it would for a long time now. That's why I'm writing this, in the hopes that you'll understand and not think me mad. Whatever the outcome, I hope you will not judge me too harshly for what I've done or failed to do.
Mr. Holmes. Mr. Holmes.
Come in. Oh, hello, Chief.
I just wanted to let you know, sir, that we're doing everything we can to find the children.
Yes, I'm sure you are.
We've got 300 men out combing the woods for them. The Army base has volunteered another 100 men, and we've sent an all-points bulletin to every police unit in the country.
Fine.
I just wanted to check and make certain our description is accurate. Your little girl, Star, was wearing a blue dress and white sandals. Is that right?
That's right.
And she is how old?
6 years old.
And the little Howell boy, how old was he?
7, I believe, yes, 7.
Thank you. Well, I'll be in touch with you.
Well, that's very good of you, Chief. Oh, by the way,
yes.
Mr. and Mrs. Howell, how are they taking it?
Well, they're pretty upset, naturally. Mr. Howell, he's out with the men searching.
Yes, I know.
And Mrs. Howell's in the car outside.
Ruth is outside? Why didn't she come in?
Well, she said she'd rather not.
Oh, I see.
Do you, Pete?
Well, Mrs. Howell, I thought...
I decided to come in. I'm not going to sit on my feelings any longer.
Mrs. Howell...
No, I have to say this. Pete, Bill and I have been your neighbors for almost a year now. Our children have been almost inseparable.
I know that.
Then how can you just sit here writing letters when they may be lost somewhere or in trouble? Why aren't you out with Bill and the rest of them searching?
I can't. Ruth, I know how you feel. Please try to understand. I intend to help find Bobby and Star, but I must do this first.
Why? What's so important about
Ruth,
it?
I'm sorry.
Sorry? Then why don't you act like a man? You're inhuman.
Please.
I don't ever want to see you or speak to you again. Ever.
Perhaps you won't.
What was that, Mr. Holmes?
Nothing. Chief, if you don't mind, I'd like to be alone for a moment.
Okay, Mr. Holmes. I'll keep in touch.
How can I tell them? How can I make them understand? I write this to you because they must be made to understand somehow, but I have to begin at the beginning. I think I first noticed it one evening when Star was 3 years old. I was in my reading chair going over some work. Star was sitting on the floor in the circle of light with her blunt-nosed scissors and scraps of paper. Her long silence made me glance down.
And then we glue this together, put a line here and there.
Star.
Like that.
Star.
What is it, Daddy?
Can I see what you've made?
Uh-huh.
Well. It's quite a coincidence.
What?
You know what they call a piece of paper joined together with a half twist like this?
Nope.
It's called a Mobius strip.
You mean somebody already made one?
A man named Mobius, mathematician, long time ago.
Did he know you can put a line on it like that so it has one side all joined?
Yes, he did. Someday I'll tell you what it means.
Now do it.
What?
Tell me about a Mobius strip.
Very complicated.
Then read me about it.
Oh, you wouldn't understand, honey.
Read me anyway.
Okay, young lady. But I warn you, it'll be like one of those nonsense rhymes. At least, I hope it will. At 3 years, a child shouldn't have enough functioning intelligence to put together a Mobius strip. I'd known for some time now that Star was an exceptionally bright child. Just how bright, I had no idea. Not until I began to read to her from an advanced physics book, The Theory of the Mobius Strip. To the power of infinity. Now then, are you sufficiently mixed up, young lady?
Daddy, you know what?
What?
You read too slow. You say a word, then I think a long time, then you say another word.
Oh, I see. Just, what would you have me do about it?
Well, teach me to read. Then I can think as quick as I want.
The word is quickly. It's an adverb.
Oh, Daddy, really? You pick on such unimportant things. I want to learn to read.
Okay. When would you like to begin?
Right now, tonight.
Before she went to bed that evening, my daughter was able to read. In the months that followed, a great deal happened. Some of our friends, like Jim Petrie, have dropped in and been amused to see her on the floor, rapidly turning the pages of an encyclopedia as big as she is. Sit down, Jim.
Oh, thanks.
Star, aren't you going to say hello to Uncle Jim?
Hello.
Huh? I see she's taken to looking at the pictures in the encyclopedia, huh?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, yes. Come on in the library, Jim. I'd like to talk to you privately.
Yeah, sure thing.
Bring your drink, huh?
Okay.
I'll shut the door here.
Why all the secrecy?
Sit down.
Hmm?
Now, Jim, we've been friends, you and I, ever since engineering school.
So?
Neither of us have ever mentioned it, but one of the reasons we were drawn together is because both of us have IQ somewhere up in the genius ratings.
Oh, I think it was more than that.
Well, that played a part. It isn't easy to be exceptional in a world which regards mediocrity as the only behavior above suspicion.
Well, we all have to live with our afflictions. Yours and mine is a quick mind in a dull environment.
What would you do, Jim, if you were a parent, as I am, whose wife had died, as Eleanor did, and you discovered that your only child was, well, afflicted with a fantastically brilliant mind?
Star? Oh, come on, Pete. Any little girl who's content just to look at the pictures in the encyclopedia.
Jim.
I mean, after
Jim,
all. What?
She wasn't looking at the pictures.
Huh?
She was reading the pages.
What? But she was turning them as fast as humanly possible.
She was reading them.
What?
I know. I've tested her. She not only remembers everything, she understands the concepts. She even gets impatient with them.
Well, have you measured them?
Well, I've given her IQ tests, aptitude tests, reaction tables, all the paraphernalia for measuring something we know nothing about.
And?
Tests don't work.
How do you mean?
Well, either the tables are screwy or stars beyond all measurement.
Pete, are you sure you're not projecting this? I mean, isn't it possible that a few accidental...
Daddy?
Yes, honey.
I got lonely.
Okay, come on in.
Uncle Jim, would you read me a story?
Why don't you read your own story?
Because I'm only 3, and 3-year-olds can't read.
And so she had found the answer to her affliction by herself. Conformity. She had already learned to conceal her intelligence. So many of us break our hearts before we learn that. When Star was 4 years old, according to state law, her mind had developed enough so she could attend nursery school.
Hi, Daddy.
Hi, honey. Did you, like nursery school?
Oh, yes, it was fun.
What'd you learn today?
Not much. I tried to cut out paper dolls, but the scissors kept slipping.
Now, look, Star, don't overdo it. That's as bad as being too quick. The idea is that everybody has to be just about standard average. That's the only thing people will tolerate. It's expected that a little girl of 4 should know how to cut out paper dolls properly.
Oh. I guess that's the hard part, isn't it, Daddy? To know how much you ought to know.
Yeah. That's the part I always found hard when I was young.
It's really all right. I let one little girl show me how to cut them out, so now she likes me. She just took charge of me and told the other kids they should like me, too. So they did, because she's the leader, even if she is one of the stupids.
What?
The stupids. That's the trouble with you, Daddy. You don't grasp things right away. That's because you're only a tween.
A tween? I assume that means an in-between?
That's right. You're in between a stupid and a bright.
And you're a bright?
Yes. I made those names up when I was very little.
How little?
Oh, about 6 months old.
The thoughts began to whirl around in my head after that one. A small fear kept growing inside me. How profound was this little imp that was staring up at me? How much did she understand already? Even as the thought formed, I learned the final horrifying fact about my little girl.
It's all right, Daddy. Don't be afraid of me.
Well, how did you know that I was thinking anything like that?
Well, I just figured it out.
Star.
Yes, Daddy?
Now, I want you to answer me honestly when I ask you this next question, will you?
Yes.
Star. Can you read people's minds? Are you a telepath? Well?
Yes, Daddy.
I thought so. You read my mind just now, didn't you?
Yes.
Now, I'd like to know something else.
All right.
Can you teach me to do it?
You're already learning it, Daddy. The trouble is you're so slow you didn't even know you were learning.
Oh, I see.
Daddy?
Yeah?
You know what I wish?
What do you wish?
Well, nothing.
All the same, I knew exactly what she was wishing. She was wishing for a companion whose mind would match her own. You see, I was becoming telepathic. Just a minute. Well, hello.
Is your little girl home?
Yeah, she's upstairs. Who are you?
I'm Robert.
Robert who?
Robert Howell. My mother and father moved next door yesterday.
Oh, well, come in, Robert.
I'd like to play with your little girl.
How'd you know I had a little girl?
Oh, I just know.
Oh, I see. And how old are you?
I'm 6.
Well, I'll ask Star to come downstairs. I'm sure she'll be glad to see you.
Yes, she will.
Tell me, Robert, are you a tween or a bride?
Oh, I'm a... What did you say, Mr. Holmes?
Nothing. I didn't have to say it. I could read his thought. He was a bride, and it was no accident that he and his parents had moved next door. Somehow, Star had managed to make contact with him, and they had arranged the whole thing. A father is prepared to lose his daughter eventually, but not so soon, not so terribly soon. They're coming. Oh, hello, Ruth. Something wrong?
Well, I was just looking for Bobby. I thought he was over here playing with Star.
Well, I thought they were over at your place.
I don't understand it.
I've noticed that they've been disappearing for a couple of hours almost every afternoon.
Well, I suppose they'll turn up again. They know better than to cross the street by themselves. They're too little for that. If they come here first, tell them to come over and have some milk and cookies.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Oh, by the way, this must belong to your Star.
Oh, what's that?
Oh, some sort of coin or medal or something. I found it out in the backyard after Star and Bobby were playing. It looks brand new.
Let's have a look.
Oh, is something wrong?
Did you say you found this in your backyard?
Yes. What is it?
I don't know.
Well, I've got to get back. Bill will be getting home for dinner soon, so see you later.
Yes.
Hello?
Jim?
Yes.
Do you have a portable spectrophotometer?
Well, sure. We've got a dozen here at the lab.
Pack one up and get over here right away, will you?
Well, Pete, I don't quit till 5.
Look, do as I say, huh? It's important.
Well, okay.
Well?
Let me check the amount of radioactivity again.
You've checked it 4 times.
That's about it.
Okay. What's your opinion of this coin?
Well, first of all, let me say this. It's the real McCoy.
And?
Also, it doesn't exist.
Makes sense.
Look, Pete, that coin is pre-Egyptian. It's hand-cast. It's made out of one of the oldest bronze alloys, one that was lost 4,000 years ago.
So it's 4,000 years old.
It is, and it isn't.
What do you mean?
Listen, Pete, old coins show wear. The edges get rounded with handling. The surface oxidizes. The molecular structure changes, crystallizes. Pete, this coin is authentic, and yet it's brand new. It might have been struck off yesterday.
You realize, of course, that that's impossible.
Where'd you get it, Pete?
I don't know. I think the kid's got it.
Star?
Yes.
How?
I don't know. I'm almost afraid to think.
Well, why not ask her?
She isn't around. She and Robert are off playing somewhere.
Well, do you know where?
No, Oh, Jim, it's just too fantastic. It isn't possible.
I haven't said a word.
I know what you're thinking.
As a matter of fact, I was thinking something fantastic. How did you guess?
I just guessed. Jim, let's find those kids right now.
Okay.
Star! Robert! Let's try the playroom. Star? Robert? Not in here. Let's try back here.
I hear something.
What?
Pete, it's coming from the room we were just in.
That's impossible. There's no place they could have hidden.
I'm going to open that door.
Peekaboo, Uncle Jim.
There they were, in the middle of the playroom, holding hands, a little shamefaced, a little defiant. Star, Robert, where have you been? Now, I know you weren't in this room a few seconds ago, and there are no windows you could get through. Well,
It's nothing, Daddy. We just went a little way.
That is not answering me. Where did you go?
You see, Star, we've found this coin.
Come on.
I shouldn't have to tell. You're both just tweens.
Star, I'm still your daddy. Even Brights have feelings about their parents. Now.
I tried to ESP you, Daddy.
Does she mean extrasensory perception?
Yes.
You just don't ESP good, Daddy. Robert does it very nicely. He can always find me when I hide.
That's 'cause you don't have much imagination.
I do, too.
Yeah, but you always have to look at a book to ESP what's in it so you leave an ESP smudge. I just look at where you left the smudge, and I go to that place, and that time, and there you are.
Oh, but that's cheating.
It isn't. You just haven't got imagination. You can't teleport yourself to a place that hasn't been.
I can, too. What about the moon people? They haven't been yet.
Oh, Star, they have, too. Not for your daddy, they haven't, but for the things from Arcturus. The moon people were about 10 million light years ago.
Oh, wait a minute, kids. Hold on. Jim, have you been listening to this?
I think I heard it.
Now, look, kids. You're either playing a big joke on us older folks, or you've actually figured out a way to travel to places in the past. Right?
And in the future, too, Daddy.
Star, could you tell us how you do it?
It would be easier if I could ESP it to you.
Well, just pretend we're stupids and tell us in words.
Well, you remember the Mobius strip?
I remember. She made it about a year ago, Jim.
Well, you join the ends of a strip of paper with a half twist to make one surface. Then you take a sheet and give it a half twist so you can join the edges together all over.
That's Klein's bottle.
Oh, you know about that.
Yes, we know that. Go on.
Well, then you take a cube. You imagine a cube, and you twist it.
Tesseract?
Shh. Go on, Star.
And you ESP the twisted cube all together the same way you did Klein's bottle. Now, if you do that big enough all around you so you're sort of folded into it, you can teleport yourself any place you want to go. And that's all there is to it.
Jim, what do you think?
I need another drink, Pete. A big one.
That's all there was to it. The line, the plane, the cube, those were Euclidean physics. The Mobius strip, the Klein bottle, the twisted cube, those were Einsteinian physics. Well, I was pretty advanced in both, but I'd have to do some heavy thinking to really grasp it. Meanwhile, the two little kids stood there staring at us.
Star, Robert, can you tell us some of the places you've been?
All over, Uncle Jim. The Romans and the Egyptians and places like that.
Is that how you got the coin?
Uh-huh, I found it. It wasn't stealing, was it, Daddy? I just found it in the dirt.
We'll skip that for a minute. What about going to the future?
There isn't any future, Mr. Holmes.
What's that?
It's kind of hard to explain. Even Star doesn't get it.
Oh.
Well, when she gets to be 6, like I am, she'll probably understand.
Well, try to explain it to me.
Well, it's all connected, just like the Mobius strip. If you go far enough, you'll get back to where it starts again. You start with the cavemen, then us men, then atomic men, the moon men, planet men, star men, and Brights. Only somehow...
What?
The Brights got off the strip. We haven't been able to find them any place in time.
I'd sure like to know how they got off and where they are.
Now, look, kids, this kind of thing can be dangerous. You might be eaten by a dinosaur or something.
Oh, we just ESP ourselves right out of there.
Well, anyway, I don't want you leaving this part of the time strip. Not again.
Daddy.
Now, I may be just a tween, but I'm your father.
I always mind you, Daddy.
Yeah? What about going off the block?
But, Daddy, we didn't cross a single street.
Nevertheless...
Pete, think of what you're doing. Pictures, specimens, recordings, not only from the past, but from the future. Pete, I beg you.
Jim, this is my daughter.
But what a contribution. We could be ages ahead of ourselves.
No. Star. Robert, I'd like your promise you won't leave present time again. Well?
Okay.
All right. Now run along. Robert's mother has some cookies and milk for you.
Okay. See you later, Daddy. See you there. Back with the movie.
Jim, I'm sorry.
Well, I suppose if I had a daughter...
Are you going to report this?
And have everybody give me the horse laugh? I may be just a tween, Pete, but I'm not an utter fool.
Took me almost 6 months to do it. I don't know how many times I visualized a cube and ESP'd it a half twist and tried to seal the edges around me. And then once there was a flash, just for an instant. I was concentrating on Caesar's triumphant march into Rome. And for the briefest instant, there it was. I was standing on a roadway watching, and then it vanished. Hey.
Hi, Daddy.
What are you two characters plotting?
Nothing, Daddy.
Well, I'm going to my study for a while. Star?
Yes, Daddy?
You remember your promise about not leaving present time, don't you?
Yes, Daddy.
You going to keep it?
Yes, Daddy.
Okay. I'm holding you to it. Hello?
Hello, Pete. This is Ruth Howell.
Yeah?
Are the kids there?
No?
When did you see them last?
What time is it? Oh, about 10 this morning, 6 or 7 hours ago. Why?
Oh, Pete, I'm worried.
What's up?
Well, they were upstairs in Bobby's room. I was in the living room. Now, I could swear they didn't come downstairs, and yet, when I went up there, they were gone. That was over 5 hours ago.
Ruth, are you sure they didn't come down?
I was in that living room every moment. Pete, I'm
Now, Ruth, don't get panicky. I'm coming right over. Just don't get panicky. There wasn't a trace of them. Well, that isn't exactly true. Remember what Robert had said about Star leaving an ESP smudge? Well, I was able to catch it in Robert's room. It had something to do with where the Brights went when they got off the time strip. That's it, of course. They wouldn't disobey by leaving present time. But isn't it possible that there is more than one present time? Isn't it possible that another now coexists with ours? That's the clue, of course.
I'm going to call the police, Pete.
I don't think it'll do any good.
But we've got to find them. They'd have come back by now.
Yes, if they could.
What do you mean?
Nothing.
Well, what are you going to do?
I'm going back to my study to think.
To think? Aren't you going to look for them?
I have to figure out where to look.
Well, I'm not going to sit around doing nothing. I'm calling the police.
That was this morning. I've been doing some desperate concentrating since then, Jim. I'm writing this down so you'll know. I've already managed to go back to the time of Cheops and ahead to the time when men were navigating to distant planets in a matter of days. But the big job remains. How to get into a dimension parallel with our own at the same time. I figured out that to get the equivalent of a Mobius strip with depth, you must use the supercube, the tesseract. That's what I'm working on at the moment. If I succeed, there is a possibility I may not be able to get back. I hope you will be able to make Bill and Ruth Howell understand. Okay, now if I take 6 cubes and fold them in one another so that every angle is a right angle. Yes, all right, I've got that. And now if in folding, I ESP the tesseract, a half twist around myself.
Mr. Holmes? Mr. Holmes, are you in there? Mr. Holmes? We'll have to break in. It's locked from the inside. Mr. Holmes.
Pete, where are you? Pete?
That's funny. The door was locked from the inside, but here's his fountain pen with the ink still wet. But he's gone.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features the final installment of Frederick Pohl's novel, Slave Ship, story of a world engaged in the wildest of all possible non-wars, where the order of the day was even wilder still. Spare every animal and throw the men to the wolves. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Star Bright, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Mark Clifton and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were Sarah Fussell, Lawson Zerby, Bill Quinn, Billy Harris, Ralph Bell, and Kate Wilkinson. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
When Captain Bradford decided to attempt to escape with the rescue boat which Johnson sailed to within a few miles of the Magic Island, Mrs. Gregory and the captain planned to send a code message to Johnson and have him standing by to help them when their fuel ran out. However, it was discovered that even though the captain's formula put all the chemists to sleep in the laboratory, the other Euclideans are very careful in their watch over the island, and the radio message can't be sent from the boat. Jerry and Joan take a desperate chance in going down into the lower levels of the island, and in trying to escape from one of the Euclidean guards, they are climbing down the inside of an elevator shaft when the elevator starts down after them.
Jerry, that car has passed the 4th floor.
Can't you get this door on the 6th floor open?
No. We must just go down as fast as we can and hope the elevator does not catch us.
Come on, then. Hurry up.
I am hurrying, Jerry, but that car sounds very near.
Well, if we have to, we'll yell and give ourselves away.
It would do no good. The inside of the car is so noisy we could not be heard.
Hey, Joan, the elevator stopped.
The guard is leaving the elevator on the 5th level.
He's gone now. Well, I guess he decided we were on the same level with the laboratory.
That does not seem right, Jerry. The guard would know we could not be on that level. There is something else happening.
Hey, what was that for?
That was a general alarm for the laboratory on the 5th level.
Well, let's do something about it.
There is nothing we can do, Jerry. But we must hurry to the bottom of this elevator shaft and try to reach the power chambers in the sub-levels.
Let's hurry it up, then. I'm getting mighty tired of playing tag up and down the blue steel ladder in the dark.
We have only about 40 feet to go now, Jerry.
Oh, that's nice. Just about 40 feet more down this ladder. What do we do when we hit the bottom?
There is a steel floor at the bottom and doors open on all sides of the shaft. I will show you which one to use.
I'll be glad to see any kind of a door that will open when we want it to.
If you would talk less and move faster, Jerry, we would soon be down.
Okay with me. Here goes for silence and action. Hey, you stepped on my fingers.
I thought you were going to hurry.
I'll show you some hurrying. Oh, boy. I'm down on the floor.
I will be there in a moment, Jerry.
Hurry up.
Oh, Jerry, that was a long climb, was it not?
Sure was.
We will try this door directly in front of us. Do not use your flashlight, Jerry. We must only feel our way in the dark until we are in a lighted passage.
Okay. How do you open this thing?
Just push it gently, Jerry. It should be quite noiseless.
Well, I'll try it. Yep, it moves all right. Hey, look, Joan. There's a crack of light around the edge of the door now.
Open it very carefully, Jerry. It is possible there will be a guard stationed there.
I'll sneak it open. There it is. Now, that's open far enough to get out through. I don't see anyone yet.
Then it will be safe to go out into the passageway. Go on, Jerry.
Okay. No, not a soul in sight.
Close the door carefully. I think it is noiseless, but we must take no chances.
Right. There it is. Now where?
As you can see, this corridor or tunnel runs around the outside of the lowest level in the island proper. We are now 100 feet below the level of the surface of the island, and about 90 feet below the water level.
And these power rooms we're trying to get to are still further down?
Yes, there are 2 sub-levels under us. The rooms we are interested in are in the first level, directly under our feet.
Then let's get going and do something about it.
We will go carefully and swiftly around this curving passageway to the steps which lead down into the power rooms. And then...
Well, what if we run into one of these guards?
Oh, there is no if, Jerry. We will meet one of them.
Oh, that's nice. What do we do with him?
We must put him to sleep with a ray gun.
Yeah, but what's he going to be doing all this time?
We must give him no chance to do anything. As we start to walk from here, you will walk in front of me. I will point my ray gun at your back as if you were my prisoner.
Well, don't forget, we're just playing that I'm your prisoner.
Oh, do not worry about that. When we meet the guard, I will tell him that I followed you down here and captured you. Then I will find some excuse to walk back here, and he will start the other way with you. That will give me an opportunity to use the ray gun on the back of his head.
All right. Then after this guard goes to sleep, What do we do next?
As this is a 300-second ray gun, the guard will only sleep for 5 minutes. In that time, we must go down into the power rooms, pass such other guards as we have to, shut off the power, and escape from this level.
Oh, and we've got 5 minutes to do all that in. Hey, what do we do in our spare time?
I think that will take nearly all of the 5 minutes.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Well, come on. Let's meet this guard and get it over with. Hey, that means the chemical laboratory again, doesn't it?
Yes, Jerry. Something very important is taking place there. That is the second alarm. And that means that everyone on the island who can is to rush to the 5th level at once.
Oh, how about these guards we've got to meet around here? Will that alarm also get them out of the way?
No, the guards will not leave their places for any reason. But the alarm will call everyone not on guard duty or in the confinement cells.
Say, how about those confinement cells? If everybody on this island is a Euclidean, why do they have to have those guards all over the place and so many cells?
There are a great many people here who are not really Euclideans. Captain Bradford was very near the truth when he said that many of the island people must be no more than prisoners. That is exactly what they are, prisoners, who are made to do all the hard work at the bidding of the Euclidean scientists.
They're not getting much action, whatever it's all about. Let's go and get this over with.
You walk a few steps ahead of me. I will hold this ray gun carefully trained on your back. Remember how you are to act as we meet the guard.
I got it. Come on.
We should meet him just around the curve in the passage. Say no more until we arrive there.
You will stand where you are. Do not advance another step. What are you doing in this passageway?
I am Cleostra. This man is my prisoner, guard. I am taking him to the General Control Chambers for questioning by the Euclidean Board of Governors.
Hey, now look here. I wasn't doing anything. I was...
Silence! What was this man doing here, Cleostra?
I was instructed to guide him to the chemical laboratory on the 5th level. He has an antidote for the sleeping gas which has overcome the scientists.
Oh, well, what if I have?
Silence.
Okay.
Proceed, Cleostra. What is this man doing here?
I took him to the 5th level as instructed. There he broke away from me and reached this level before I could overtake him. For some reason, he has refused to take the formula which he holds to the laboratory.
Why is that, fool?
Because if those Euclideans never wake up, it'll be too soon for me.
So, I think I...
No, not that guard. He must be taken unharmed before the remaining scientists and compelled to deliver the formula. Then he is to stand close by and watch it compounded in the laboratory. This is to prevent any treachery.
That is well ordered. If he escaped from you once, how can you be sure of delivering him safely there now?
Oh, she can't be. It'll take more than a girl with a ray gun in her hand to take me anywhere. If she uses that thing on me, I'll only go to sleep for 5 minutes. I'm kind of tired anyway.
I have a plan, guard. You take this man to the scientists. Your ray gun will put him in a far different kind of sleep if he resists you. I will attend your station until you return.
It is well. These men in the laboratory must be revived at any cost. I will take him. Precede me, fool, and remember that this ray gun will put you to sleep for 1,000 years. Walk quickly. That way.
Okay, but you don't have to get so rough about it.
Silence! I will return soon, Cleostra.
That is well. All right, Jerry. You may turn around now.
I hope I can turn around. Yep. My neck moves anyway. Boy, when I heard that ray gun start crying up the back of my neck, I sure got a scare.
He will sleep nicely there for 5 minutes, Jerry. Now we must hurry on.
Boy, he didn't make a sound when he fell on this noiseless floor. Say, talking about making a sound, wouldn't they hear that ray gun down in the power room?
No, Jerry. The power room is not noiseless. It is another room that is kept deliberately noisy, so the human ear will learn to distinguish the sounds of the various machines and whether or not they are in perfect operation.
Okay, come on then. Let's beat it for the power room.
And when we get there, we will just have to walk boldly in. I know the location of the principal switches and valves. We will have to move rapidly. You must do as I tell you about everything you touch. Then our chances of escape will be a matter of seconds, possibly a fraction of a second.
Did you ever try to cut a second up into little pieces?
Of course not, Jerry. But a second does have an element of time within its limits, which gives the human brain scope enough to encompass a considerable flight of mental activity.
I got it. A second gives you long enough to think about all the other places you ought to be when the ray gun starts on you.
Come, Jerry, this is not the time for joking.
I sort of figured that out for myself.
Quiet now. There is the door of the power chamber stairway. We must descend one flight.
All right. Do I just jerk it open?
Yes. Open it barely a crack at first. We may see something of advantage. Slowly and carefully now, Jerry.
Gee, what a place.
It is wonderful, Jerry. There is enough power generated here to light a city in your world.
Boy, I believe it. Well, what do we do now?
Let me see. Yes. Do you see those two large valves at the foot of the steps to your left?
Yeah?
You will open those wide and do it quickly. I will open all the switches on the master panel in the center of the room. Then we must run madly back up these steps and out.
But, hey, you're going to take the dangerous part. You'll be farther from the door.
No, Jerry. It will take you longer to open the valves. Now, ready?
Ready?
Then we go.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Strange mystery hovers over the news story that Candy Myers promised Clark Kent, as without any reason, Candy disappears.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. Say, how's breakfast at your house? Is it, just breakfast? Or is it a snappy sort of meal that looks cool and crisp, tastes cool and crisp, and helps you feel cool and crisp as you start the day? I mean, gang, does your breakfast start off with a bowl of Kellogg's Pep? Yes, sir, Pep with cool milk and sugar is an appetite tickler from way back. Why, those crisp flakes of whole wheat are packed to the brim with keen, catchy, nippy flavor. Strictly terrific flavor, no kidding. And something else strictly terrific about Pep is the prizes it gives you. 3 smooth kinds of prizes, 1 in every package. And you never know which kind you'll get next. Could be, for instance, you'll find a Model Allied fighting plane in colored cardboard. 1 of 7 nifty Pep planes you can collect. Or it could be you'll find 1 of 24 new full-color bird pictures with a full description on the reverse side so you can identify these birds in the air. Or it could be your next Pep prize will be 1 of 18 bright-colored comic buttons picturing a famous funnies character like Smilin' Jack or Skeezix or Superman himself. Yes, you'd look mighty slick with all 18 of these buttons pinned on your jacket or your beanie cap. So start collecting all 3 kinds of these swell Pep prizes. Ask Mom to get you Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, tomorrow.
And now, The Adventures of Superman. Promising a sensational news scoop, Private Detective Candy Myers asked Clark Kent to come to his waterfront bungalow that night. But when Kent arrived with Editor Perry White, they found Candy unconscious, cruelly beaten. The next morning in the hospital, Candy refused to discuss the affair, saying he had an idea who his attackers were, and insisting angrily that he would deal with them alone. Finally, however, he agreed to tell his story if Kent and White would leave him for half an hour because he was tired. But as Kent and White started back to his room, Candy's physician met them with startling news. Listen.
What is it, Dr. Ross? Why are you so excited?
He's gone.
What? Who's gone?
Mr. Myers he's gone.
Gone? What do you mean, Doctor?
I went to his room a few minutes ago.
Yes?
But he wasn't there.
Isn't there?
And he isn't anywhere else in the hospital.
What?
He simply vanished.
Good God, let's have a look in his room. Come on.
Mr. Myers Right here in this room, in this bed.
Yes, I know.
But when I came in to see him a few minutes ago, he was gone.
I can't understand it. We left him here just half an hour ago. He said he wanted to take a nap.
You say you searched the hospital, Dr. Ross? Yes. Yes, he isn't here, Mr. Kent.
Oh, nonsense. He must be here. He couldn't just disappear into thin air.
Oh, it's obvious that Candy either walked out, Chief.
He couldn't walk out. He was hurt too badly.
Oh, Candy's a pretty tough customer. And I see his street clothes are gone from the closet.
He couldn't walk, I tell you. Could he, Doctor?
Well, he was in bad shape. But as Mr. Kent says, he's rugged. He might have walked, but I...
Walked? Walk where? The corridor is full of nurses and doctors. And Candy was bound up in bandages like a mummy. Somebody would have seen him.
That's what I was about to say.
He could have left through this window. The window? Are you out of your mind, Kent?
No, take a look for yourself, Chief. This is a low second floor, and the roof of the veranda runs directly below. It's only a short drop to the veranda roof and another short drop to the ground.
Oh, now, wait,
It's
Mr.
a short
Kent,
drop for you, but not for an injured man. Anyhow, why in thunder would Candy want to pull a fool stunt like that?
Well, he might not have wanted to. He might have been forced.
Forced?
Mm-hmm.
Well, by whom? Why?
Candy was badly beaten last night because of something he discovered. It's possible that someone overheard him promise to tell us all about it and spirited him away so he couldn't talk.
Good heavens.
Nobody could have overheard him. The three of us were here alone in this room.
Somebody could have been out there on that veranda roof, right under the window.
Oh, well,
Dr. Ross, I suggest you contact the police at once. We'll get in touch with you later.
Very well.
Come on, Chief.
Where?
To Candy's house. I just remembered something. Something very important.
Just what in thunder are you looking for, Kent?
I told you, Chief. Candy was investigating something. Apparently, he made an important discovery which somebody didn't want him to make.
Well, I can figure that out for myself, Mr. Brilliant Detective. But what was he investigating, and what discovery did he make?
Nothing there. I don't know what he discovered.
That's a great help.
But I think he was investigating the subway.
The subway?
Mm-hmm. You remember when the new tube under 9th Avenue caved in last month?
I'll say I do. 3 people killed and a couple of hundred injured. Well, what about it?
Only this. Candy was riding in the subway at the time. And he barely escaped serious injury. And what's more, he was wild mad when he saw all those people hurt. Matter of fact, he came to me. He said he wanted me to help him investigate the accident. I was going to, but that atom bomb story came up then.
Mm-hmm.
Well? Well, just that I think Candy went on with the investigation himself. He's a stubborn guy, you know. I believe he may have turned up something.
Oh, nonsense. The city made its own investigation. They found the cave-in was caused by a fault in the rock, which hadn't been there when the tube was put through. Just one of those unfortunate things, that's all.
Maybe.
No maybe about it. Mayor Marshall issued the report himself. You don't doubt his honesty, do you?
No, but...
You'd better not. You worked like a dog to help elect him. No, Candy must have been working on something else, Kent.
Maybe. Well, there's nothing in this chest but some shirts and stuff. And there was nothing in the desk or in the bedroom. Afraid the fellows who beat him up last night got away with his evidence.
If there was any evidence. Oh, say, how about his office?
No, it's always closed during August. Jackson, his assistant, takes his vacation then, and Candy goes to the ball games. Say, look, Chief, I'm going back to the hospital.
What for?
Well, someone may have turned up by now who saw Candy being taken away. If so, I'll have to move fast. I don't think Candy will get away with just a beating this time.
Oh, no. Well, isn't there something we can do?
I'm going to do something. Right now. Now, you can get...
You're going to do something?
Yes. Now, please, Chief, no question.
But
I suggest you send a good reporter, say, Tony Sloan, out to that subway cave-in right away. I passed it the other day, and it isn't quite cleaned up yet. Tell him to get samples of the concrete used in the tube and the rock.
Are you still harping on that? I tell you there's nothing in it.
Wait a minute, please, Chief. When I showed Candy the handkerchief we found by him last night, the one that had Keep Your Nose Clean printed on it, he blurted out that somebody was trying to frighten him into staying away from the subway.
I don't remember his saying anything about a subway. He just said somebody was trying to scare him.
No, he said the subway, I tell you. Now, please, Chief, we're losing valuable time. Candy's life is at stake. We can't afford to overlook any kind of clue.
All right. I'll send somebody out.
Fine. Now, I'll get out...
But I can't send Tony Sloan. He's on the Connor story. And Harry Goldman is doing the follow-up on the Pelly case. I'll send Jim.
Oh, no. It might be too dangerous for him.
Dangerous? Dangerous, my foot. But, okay. I'll send Lois along with him.
Okay, but tell him to be careful. Very careful. I'll see you later, Chief.
We got here just in time. time, Jim. See, the steam shovel is clearing out what's left of the cave-in, too.
Yeah, the hole will be clean in no time. How are we going to get close enough to get some chunks of the old concrete and the rock? There are guards all around the place.
I know how. Come with me.
Where, Miss Lane?
That big dump truck. The steam shovel is dropping the old concrete into it.
Oh, you mean we'll snitch some out of the truck?
Oh, we're not snitching, Jim. That stuff belongs to the city, and we're citizens. Besides, it's valueless. They're just going to take it somewhere and dump it maybe into the harbor.
It's not valueless if it helps us find Candy Myers. Gosh, poor Candy. She's an awful swell guy.
Not so loud. Do you want everyone to know what we're here for?
I'm sorry. There are just workmen around, though, and guards.
Well, we don't know who's around, Jim. Get ready now. When we get behind the truck, fill that shoebox, but do it quickly.
I will.
Stay on this side of the truck until we get to the rear so that the guards don't see us.
Okay.
Get ready. All right, Jim. Now. Okay. What? Oh, I'm sorry.
Got a juice box.
Come on, then. Hurry.
Right.
Watch for an empty taxi.
Okay. Gosh, when that guard hollered at you, my heart jumped right up in my throat.
Never mind the guard. Just keep your eyes peeled for a taxi. Oh, I'll feel better when we're away from here.
So will I. These guys...
Look out! Jim! Behind the car! Jim, look out!
Shouting, Lois Lane seizes Jimmy Olsen's arm as a large black sedan roars down on them from behind. We'll return in a moment for the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Say, it's a big moment, isn't it, when Mom opens a package of Kellogg's Pep? Because right away you're looking to see which one of those 3 kinds of swell Pep prizes you'll get. You're never quite sure whether it'll be one of Pep's 7 colored cardboard plane models, and say, are they a keen collection? Or whether your next prize will be one of 24 beautiful color pictures of birds, with a description on the reverse side to help you name and to know these birds every time. Or then again, that prize might be one of 18 bright-colored comic buttons, each picturing one of your favorite funnies characters, to collect and to pin on your jacket or your beanie cap. All you do know is that whichever one of these prizes you find inside your package of Pep, it's strictly super. And you can say that again for Pep itself. Why, the way those crisp whole wheat flakes of Pep make with a flavor is something terrific. Yes, sir, you'll say that a bowl of Pep, the Sunshine cereal, with cool milk and sugar, is just about the slickest, the most refreshing breakfast dish there is. It's a downright catchy tasting that, well, it keeps your spoon coming right back until you've polished off every last bit in your bowl. And that's the right angle, especially nowadays when we're sending the cereal grains to fellows and girls overseas. So remember, gang, eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
As Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen were leaving the scene of the recent subway cave-in with a shoebox full of concrete specimens, a large black sedan, throttle open, roared down on the boy reporter from behind. Shouting an alarm, Lois seized Jimmy's arm.
Look out! Jim! Look out!
Sleeping lizards. Was that close? You saved my life, Miss Lane.
Oh, I'm weak in the knees. That stupid driver. He must have seen you.
Sure he did. He didn't even blow his horn. Look, here he comes now. I'm going to give him a piece of my mind.
So am I.
All right, kid?
Yeah, but it's not your fault. Why don't you look where you're going?
What were you trying to do? Kill us both?
Gee, I'm sorry. Here, let me brush you off, kid.
Never mind.
Come here, Harry. Give me a hand, will you?
Okay, Joe. I said never mind brushing me off. Take your hands off me.
Come on. Walk a little bit, kid. See if you're okay.
Are you all right, Jim?
Sure, I'm okay. Let go of me, I said.
I want to make sure. Take his arm, Harry. Come on, kid.
Cut it up. Hey, what's the idea?
You let him alone.
Enter the car with you, kid.
Look here. What?
Hey, let go.
Get in there.
Let go.
Okay, Harry. Step on it.
Help. Help. Miss Lane. Help.
Struggling frantically, Jimmy Olsen is thrust into the black sedan, which rushes away, leaving Lois Lane so thunderstruck that she cannot even call out. What does this mean? Is the shoebox of old concrete, which Jimmy still clutches instinctively, the reason for this mysterious attack? What will happen to the boy reporter? And what has happened to Candy Myers? Our story has taken a strange and menacing twist. Don't fail to be with us Monday when stranger things occur and a startling surprise. Tune in, same time, same station. And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep. For excitement,
The Adventures of Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Comics magazine and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, here's a winner in your list of famous names. It's Kellogg, the greatest name in cereals. Kellogg, as in Kellogg shredded wheat. What a treat for breakfast. Plump, tender biscuits of whole wheat, toasted just right. Full of natural nut-sweet flavor, too. And are they crisp? And here's what else you get in Kellogg shredded wheat. Grand whole wheat nutrition, biscuits made to fit the bowl, and 15 biscuits in every package. Tell Mom you'd like Kellogg shredded wheat. And be sure to be with us on Monday for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
You are isolated on a remote plantation in the crawling Amazon jungle, and an immense army of ravenous ants is closing in on you, swarming in to eat you alive. A deadly black army from which there is no escape.
Escape, produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and carefully contrived to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight we escape to the Amazon jungle and to a creeping, crawling terror, as Carl Stevenson told it in his gripping story, Leiningen versus the Ants.
I first met Leiningen while performing my duty as district commissioner. As my boat neared his plantation landing, I saw him upon the riverbank, regarding me with mild interest. A great hulk of a man with bristling gray hair, bulky nose, and pale eyes. His entire appearance somehow suggested an aging and shabby eagle. He escorted me to the terrace and had a drink brought. I came quickly to the point of my visit and issued my warning. Leiningen puffed placidly at a huge cigar and listened as I told him, unless they alter their course, and there's no reason why they should, they'll reach your plantation in 2 days at the latest.
Uh-huh. Well, it was decent of you paddling all this way just to give me the tip.
Tip?
Commissioner, even a herd of crocodiles couldn't drive me from this plantation of mine.
But these aren't creatures you can fight. They're an elemental force, a gigantic catastrophe. 10 miles long, 2 miles wide. Ants, nothing but ants. And each one as big as your thumb. And each of them a fiend from hell. Unless you clear out at once, there'll be nothing left of you but a skeleton picked as clean as your own plantation will be.
I'm not getting out.
But you can't fight.
Yes, I can. I've got the best weapon there is, Commissioner. Intelligence.
But can't I make you understand the hideous...
I think it is you who do not understand. In the 3 years I've been here, I've met and defeated more than one catastrophe. Flood, drought, the plague. Events which caused many of my neighbors to flee for their lives. No, Commissioner, all my life I have lived with one creed. The human brain needs only to become fully aware of its powers to conquer even the elements.
Leiningen, your obstinacy is endangering not only your own life, but the lives of your workers and their families. You don't know these ants. I tell you, you don't know these ants. But Leiningen merely sat there, puffing at his cigar and regarding me with a smug grin, and I knew it was hopeless. As I boarded my launch and cast off, I realized I'd never met a man like that, and I could not help wondering
about the strange look in the commissioner's eyes as he boarded his launch and cast off. Undoubtedly, he thought me insane. Well, he would not have been the first to think so. But I, Leiningen, knew my own powers. I was sure of myself. I knew that intelligence, directed aright, always makes man the master of his fate. That night, I called my Indian workers together in front of the plantation house. I saw their faces go ashen with terror as I told them that the ants were coming. Watched them as they milled around, muttering. I said nothing more to them. Finally, one of the men stepped forward. Blas, the foreman.
Patron, we have worked hard here for these 3 years. All of us. We have built the finest plantation in this district. We all share in it. It has been a home for all of us and our families. Now the ants come.
So?
Those ditches we dug last year, the pipe we put in the ground, that was for the ants?
Yes, that was for the ants.
If we moved our families across the river, the ants could not reach them?
Yes, that's right. And you?
The ants are mighty. We know what they can do. All of us think that you are mighty. Patron, we will stay with you and fight against the ants.
I knew that the men would give me that answer. I counted on it. I thought of the commissioner and wondered what he would say at such unquestioning confidence. Would he still think I was insane? Or had he dismissed me?
Out of my mind. One man who calmly evaluated his chances against a deadly menace, coolly decided he could win and was willing to stake his life on it, to risk a horrible death for it. It was terrifying. And yet it was fascinating. The next morning I sent for my assistant. Together we went to the huge map of the district which hung from a wall of my office and checked the last reported position of the ants.
Last night they had reached here, about 70 miles above this fork in the river.
Traveling southeast?
Yes.
Directly toward Leiningen.
Toward whom, sir?
That plantation at the bend in the river belongs to a man named Leiningen. When would you say the ants will reach there?
Oh, I don't know. You mentioned about tomorrow noon.
Tomorrow noon, still time.
Still time? What do you mean, sir?
Why, nothing. But what did I mean? Still time for what? For Leiningen to flee, or still time for me to... Even as I rejected the thought with horror, I knew that the fascination of that man was more than I could resist. That Leiningen's fight was drawing me back toward that plantation and death. I knew now past all doubt that I was going back. I had to. It was 10 o'clock in the morning when I rounded the bend and saw Leiningen's plantation before me. I put in at the dock and tied up the launch. Then I saw him standing on the bank above me, arms folded, stubby cigar in his mouth, and that same smug grin on his face. I made my way up to him.
Back with another warning, Commissioner?
No.
Back to stay a while?
Yes. You don't seem surprised.
No, I'm not.
You expected me?
I thought you'd be back. Come along. We'll get some horses. You'll want to ride around the plantation, take a look at the defenses I've rigged up.
Yes, I'll want to see the defense.
And the ants. We'll be getting a glimpse of them before long, I should think.
Yes, the ants. The defenses Leiningen had devised were quite impressive. Surrounding 3 sides of the plantation like a huge horseshoe was a ditch 12 feet wide. The ends of this horseshoe-shaped ditch ran into the river which formed the 4th side of the plantation. And at the upriver entrance to the ditch, Leiningen had constructed a dam by which the river water could be diverted into the ditch. A large hand wheel controlled the floodgate of the dam, and apparently Leiningen had ordered it opened immediately after my arrival. For as we now approached the ditch and rode along it, I could see that it was nearly full.
How do you like my first line of defense, Commissioner?
It's reassuring, like a moat around a castle.
Unless the ants know how to build rafts, they won't reach the plantation. But this is only the outer moat. There's a better one than this. Now, come along. We'll go up to the high ground where the buildings are. I can get a view from there.
Leiningen.
Huh?
I didn't see any women or children around the plantation or any animals.
Yes, that's right. Moved them across the river.
Then even you think there is danger.
Not because of danger, Commissioner. Matter of efficiency.
Efficiency?
Yes, cuts down on the efficiency of the men if they're worried about their families. Critical situations only become crises when oxen and women get excited.
I see.
Here we are. See the ditch?
It's much smaller than the others.
Yes, you've noticed how all the buildings are on this piece of high ground. The inner ditch surrounds them, and it's lined with concrete.
But even filled with water, this is no barrier. It's not big enough. Why, if the ants get this far,
they'll get no farther. This ditch wasn't built for water, Commissioner. You see the pipes leading into it? See those storage tanks on the hill? Petrol. We can throw up a wall of flame. Care to bet they won't like that?
I hope you're right. Leiningen, look. Over at the edge of the jungle, all those animals.
Yes. Running like the wind. Everything from jaguars to monkeys.
Good heavens.
Remember, they don't have any ditches.
But can they escape?
Now, they'll be all right as long as they don't get caught between the river and the ants. They can outrun the crawlers. But if they get trapped, it's either the ants or the crocodiles. Look. Up there over the horizon. There are your ants. Look at them.
It was a sight I will never forget. Over the range of hills, as far as I could see, crept a darkening hem, ever longer and broader until the shadows spread across the entire slope, then downward, uncannily swift, and all the green herbage on the entire slope was being mowed as by a giant sickle, leaving only the vast moving shadow extending and deepening, and all was moving nearer.
They're a hideous lot.
Leiningen, we can't last against that. Look at them. Why, they will fill your ditches with their corpses and still have enough to destroy every one of us. We've got to run.
Well, no, they haven't gotten to us yet, and they never will.
The hostile army was approaching in perfect formation. No human battalions, however well drilled, could ever hope to rival the precision of that advance. Along a front that moved forward as uniformly as a straight line, the ants drew nearer and nearer to the water ditch. As they approached, two outlying wings of the army detached themselves from the main body and started marching along the sides of the ditch, no doubt expecting at some point to find a crossing. And during this hour-long flanking movement, the main army remained still. Across the scant 12 feet of ditch, I stared at them, and they stared back at me. A solid mass, every one as big as my thumb, with reddish-black body and long legs. Suddenly, a sound so unearthly as to freeze our blood jerked our heads in the direction of the jungle on the far side of the ditch. Coming toward the ditch at a stumbling gallop was a singular being, a writhing, animal-like blackened statue with a shapeless head and 4 quivering feet. It was a stag, covered over and over with ants. Leiningen threw up his rifle, and the stag fell lifeless to the ground, its agonies at an end. Horrified as I was, my curiosity impelled me to glance at my watch. I had to know how long the ants would take. After 6 long minutes, only the white polished bones of the stag remained. Now I could see a change in Leiningen. Gone was the sporting zest of the novel contest. In its place was a cold, violent purpose. He had to beat the ants because he now knew how long it would take them once they got to us. Around 4 in the afternoon, the ant scouts, having found no crossing, there was a stirring among the main army. And then an immense flood of ants about 100 yards in width commenced pouring in a glimmering black cataract down the far slope of the ditch. Thousands drowned instantly, but the rest began using the bodies as bridges. Leiningen immediately swung into action.
Close to the dam. Open the floodgate a little more. We've got to get the water in the ditch moving faster.
Si, senor.
Look at them drown by the thousands.
But they keep coming. Even though the current carries many of them away, they're advancing.
Well, we'll fix them. What?
Yes, senor.
How about those shovels and petrol sprinklers? You passed them out to the men?
Yes, sir, it has been done.
Then get all hands here in a hurry. This looks like a spot for action.
Hey.
Commissioner.
Yes?
Beginning to see what I was talking about?
What do you mean?
About intelligence being more than a match for anything it tackles. Take the ants. They've got no intelligence. If they had, they'd have attacked along the whole length of the ditch instead of a narrow cut like this. They'd have been across by now. Too bad I'm not running their campaign for them.
You can joke about it like that with ants halfway across the
All right,
ditch?
men. Busy with the shovels now. Dump some sand and quads on them. See how they like that. You with the petrol sprinklers. Stop popping. They don't like it, Commissioner. They don't like it a bit. Look at them.
Yes. But look at the ones on the far side of the ditch. Whole clumps of them rolling into the water. The rest are using them for bridges.
Yes. Smarter than I thought. They're widening their front, too.
Some of them are getting across.
Grab a shovel, then, Commissioner. Make them regret it. What's the matter?
They killed him, senor. Let on my eyes.
Enter the petrol, idiot. Douse your hands in the petrol. Don't stop now. The rest of you. Grab them. Grab them.
We cannot hold it back, senor. We must run.
Keep at it. Keep at it. Don't stop now. The water's moving faster.
And now got the floodgates open.
Yes. They can't hold their own against the current now. Look at them, Commissioner. The water's carrying them away. We've beat them. We've won out. It
was true. Leiningen had won. At least the opening round. The floodgates were left open to forestall any night crossing. But when dawn came, the dark blanket was still there, motionless across the ditch. Then we noticed a feverish activity on the other side of the plantation. Here, a grove of tamarind trees lined the far end of the ditch, and every tree swarmed with the crawling insects. But instead of eating the leaves, they were merely gnawing through the stems so that a thick green shower fell steadily to the ground. Well, it looks as if it's feeding time for our friends, eh?
Boss.
Senor.
Have all the petrol pumps brought here. Get everyone over here except the lookouts on the other side. Then pass out the shovels.
Si, senor.
Going to deprive them of a meal?
A meal?
Aren't they cutting down the leaves for food?
No. I wish they were. Looks like I underestimated them when I said they didn't have intelligence.
What do you mean?
I said if they wanted to get across, they'd have to have rafts. And that's just what they've got. Those leaves are their rafts.
Even as he spoke, the leaves went tumbling down the far bank by the thousands. The current drew them away from the bank, and each leaf carried several ants.
Don't worry. As long as you can keep spraying them and shoveling dirt on their rafts, they can't land.
But there will be too many.
It's true. Look, more leaves in the ditch all the time. Why, they'll have a solid carpet to walk across in a minute.
Not so fast, Commissioner. I've still got a trick up my sleeve for them.
The water! The ditch is drying up.
Yes, of course it's drying up. That's the plan. Those are the orders I sent to the dam.
Are you mad? As soon as it's empty, what's to prevent the... Look, the water's way down. It's almost dry. They'll be able to come across the bottom.
They'll not make it. The man at the dam will have opened the gates by now.
To flood the ants?
Right.
But what a chance to take. If anything should happen...
Here it comes. Here comes the water. Yes, we'll give the crawlers a ditch to ride in. Right out to the river. Look at them go.
Leiningen's tactics were successful at first. The violent flow of water at the original depth raced through the ditch, overwhelming leaves and ants and sweeping them along. 3 times the ditch was emptied. 3 times the ants raced across its bottom, and 3 times the rushing water, arriving just in time, carried them away. But the 4th time, as the water lowered nearly to the bottom of the ditch, we waited in vain for the rushing waters, and then...
What's the matter? What's gone wrong at the dam?
Yes. Just as the man at the dam lowered the water almost to the bottom, the ants attacked. Before he could open the floodgate, he was almost surrounded. He ran. The ants kept coming. They are across the ditch.
Leiningen stood motionless, absorbing the news of his defeat without a word. Then he raised his pistol and fired 3 shots into the air. The prearranged signal for all the men to retreat instantly to the second line of defense. The concrete ditches more than a mile from the point of the invasion. Soon after we arrived there, the natives commenced straggling in silently. Leiningen waited until all of them had gathered. Then he spoke to them.
Well, lads, we won the first round and lost the second. But we'll smash the crawlers yet. Anyone who thinks otherwise can draw his pay and push off. There are rafts enough on the river and plenty of time still to reach them. You stay then. Good. Thank you, lads. And you, Commissioner.
I can't persuade you to give up the fight?
You cannot.
Then I stay, too.
Yeah. I knew you would.
Senor. You are the ants have reached the ditch.
They're trying to get across?
No, senor.
I didn't think they would. There's plenty of food out there for them. My fields and orchards, the work of 3 years. Ought to last them until morning, anyway.
Yes, we were safe for that night. But the next morning, the black swarm was solid around us, and their shock troops were hard at work. They were dropping shreds of bark and twigs and leaves into the petrol-filled ditches, forming a floating bridge across the surface of the liquid. Leiningen stood silently watching this operation, and I could see a grudging admiration in his face. Then, after several hours, the attack came. Down the ditch they poured, millions of them, and across the bridge of twigs, rapidly approaching the inner side. Leiningen sat motionless, watching them. Leiningen, for the love of God, don't sit there like a statue. They'll be on us in a moment.
Let them fill the ditch first. Now. All right? Everyone back? Blas, hand me the torch. Now we'll see how our friends like a little heat.
Flames from the ditch shot into the air, devouring ants by the millions. It was some time before the petrol burned down to the bed of the ditch, but when it did, the devils came back for more. Again, Leiningen fired the ditch to destroy them. And still again they came on, but at each successive firing, the task of the ants grew easier because of the film of ash which now covered the petrol. And as they returned to the assault time after time, a slow, sickening horror crept into my mind. I looked quickly at Leiningen, then at the petrol tanks. He read my gaze and nodded slowly.
That's right, Commissioner. We could hold them off forever if our supply of petrol was unlimited. But it isn't. We've got enough to fill the ditch once more.
Leiningen, isn't there any way at all? We've got to do something.
I know. There must be a way. There must be. Yes.
What is it?
We'll flood the whole plantation.
Flood? But how?
The river's higher than any point except this high ground we're on now. If the river was dammed all the way, it'd overflow that stone breakwater and flood the whole plantation. We've got to close the floodgate at the dam. That'll do it.
You're mad. The dam is more than a mile away, more than a mile away.
Lads, listen to me. Listen, lads. I'm proud of you. Now, there's still a chance. By shutting the floodgates from the dam and flooding the whole plantation from the river. The moment I'm over the ditch, set fire to it. That'll allow time for the flood to wash away the ants. Then all you'll have to do is wait for me.
It's impossible. You can't get to the dam, let alone back.
That's where you're wrong, Commissioner. I'll get there, and I'll get back. Take care of things while I'm gone, huh?
I watched him as he calmly pulled on high leather boots, drew gauntlets over his hand and stuffed the spaces between breeches and boots, gauntlets and arms, with petrol-soaked rags. He shielded his eyes with close-fitting mosquito goggles and plugged his nostrils and ears with cotton. Then the natives drenched his clothes with petrol. Blas, who acted as doctor to the men, smeared a salve over him, and finally Leiningen was ready. And as he stood calmly surveying...
Ready for the run, I realized that this is as it should be. I, Leiningen, would meet the ants and defeat them, or be defeated by them. Leiningen versus the ants. Yes, it was right that it should be like this. But now there was no more time for thought. Only action. I took a deep breath and then bounded across the ditch and among the ants. I ran in long equal strides with one thought, one sensation in my being. I must get through. I dodged the trees and shrubs. Except for the split seconds my soles touched the ground, the ants would have no opportunity to alight on me. I ran on. I was halfway to the dam before I felt ants under my clothes and a few on my face. I struck on them mechanically, scarcely conscious of their bites. And the dam drew toward me slowly. And the distance grew less. Finally, only 100 yards away. 50. Then I was there. I gripped the ant-covered wheel, but hardly had I seized it when a horde of ants flowed over my hands and arms. I strained, and slowly the wheel turned. And turned more. The floodgate was swinging slowly shut. Then it was shut. And the water was rising behind the breakwater. Closer to the top. Closer. And then it was spilling over. Flooding of the plantation had begun. I let go of the wheel and started back through the ants. I was coated from head to foot with the fiends. Tongues of fire stabbed at me as they bit into my flesh. I almost lost my head with the pain as I ran, knocking ants from my body, brushing them from my bloody face. And then one bit me just below the rim of my goggles. I managed to tear him away. But the agony of the bite and its venom drilled into the eye nerves. I saw now through circles of fire into a milky mist. I was almost blinded. But I knew that if I tripped and fell... I ran on, my heart pounding as if it would burst. Blood roaring in my ears, a giant's fist battering my lungs. And then I could see dimly that wall of flame at the ditch, but it was too far away. I could not last half that distance. I stumbled and fell. Felt myself being swarmed over, devoured. Tried to rise. A great weight. And then suddenly the vision of the half-devoured stag in my brain. 6 minutes, then nothing but bones. I couldn't let that happen to me. I couldn't die like that. To my feet. Dragged myself forward. Saw the flame. The ditch. The ring of flame. Closer now. Only a little closer.
It seemed we had waited for hours when all at once through the blazing ring around us an apparition hurtled and fell full length on the ground. It was Leiningen, alive with ants, unconscious, with glazing eyes and lacerated face. We rushed to him, stripped off his clothes, and tore at the ants that covered him. His body seemed almost one open wound. In one place I could see a white bone. Later, as the curtain of flame lowered, I looked out where the blanket of ants had been and saw only a vast expanse of water, covering the entire plantation and working its way to within a few feet of the concrete ditch. The ants were gone, drowned, and Leiningen had won. He lay on his bed, his body swathed from head to foot with bandages, but alive and still in command.
Everything in order?
Everything's in order.
I told you I'd come back. Even if I am a bit streamlined.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight brought you Leiningen versus the Ants by Carl Stevenson, adapted for radio by Robert Reif, with William Conrad as Leiningen and Lou Merrill as the commissioner. Music was conceived and conducted by Cy Feuer. Next week...
You are groping through a dark alleyway in the French Quarter of New Orleans, with terror driving you on. And always before your eyes is the malevolent stare of a voodoo man, striking you with a deadly curse from which you must escape.
Next week, we escape with William Irish's eerie story of a voodoo-haunted band leader, Papa Benjamin. Good night, then, until this same time next week, when we again offer you Escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Nestle's Ever-Ready, the instant cocoa. Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk. And Nestle's chocolate bars now present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy have become infected with a dangerous, weakening sickness and are frantically searching a laboratory on Venus, hoping to find the one medicine that will cure them.
If we don't get some of that solution soon, we'll be of no use to ourselves or anybody. Believe me, sir. Right now, I'm just going on my own momentum. Up there on the top shelf, I found it. Yeah. That's it. That's the remedy. Be careful lifting it down. It's probably all there is in the whole place. If I only get it to the ship before Drokov finds us. Commander, it's Drokov. And he's got a blast gun. Commander, the blast smashed the bottle. The medicine's gone.
We'll return in just a moment with today's exciting Space Patrol adventure, The Fugitive from Tolarma.
Hi, Space Patrollers. Commander Corey here. How'd you like to have a soda fountain in your home? You can, you know. I'm not kidding. If you have a big brown-yellow can of Nestle's Quick on the shelf, your kitchen is a real soda fountain. Because Nestle's Quick makes the smoothest, richest chocolate milk you've ever tasted. That's the kind of drink you could never make at home before. And now, well, you can have it any time you like. Quick fixes so fast it practically makes itself. Now listen to this. You just pour yourself a glass of milk. That comes first. Then you add 2 teaspoons of Nestle's Quick. Quick starts right in the mix itself. All you have to do is spoon it around once or twice. And there you are. A big, frosty, cool glass of chocolate milk that tastes just like those delicious Nestle's chocolate bars. You can't beat that anywhere. Quick gives you something more. It helps build strong bones and sound teeth because it's fortified with vitamin D. Now, believe me, fellows and girls, you're going to love having Quick around for easy fixing, for solid nourishment, and for delicious soda fountain treats. Mom will see that when you have Nestle's Quick, you drink your milk up better than ever. So today, ask her to bring home the big brown and yellow can of Nestle's Quick. That's Q-U-I-K, Quick. And it's delicious.
And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, The Fugitive from Tolarma. Drokov, a criminal from another solar system, is using a strange and powerful weapon to gain control of the United Planets. By releasing millions of microscopic spores from a poisonous plant into a city's atmosphere, he can reduce the entire population to spiritless automatons, lacking both the energy and desire to cure the condition that afflicts them. Commander Corey has been able to save Saturn City from the epidemic thanks to the aid of Gelwin, a galactic crime investigator from the Tolarma star system. Right now, in Space Patrol headquarters at Saturn City, Buzz and Happy face the task of capturing Drokov before he can strike again.
Here, Hap. This is the latest report from the medical section. Pick it with the others. Yes, sir. All the documents you wanted to take with us are right here on the desk. Quite a stack. Now that the panic's over, what good are they? You'll know what to expect if Drokov spreads his poisonous plant, his weed of despair in some other city. I hope we nab him before he has a chance. What we saw here in Saturn City could happen to a whole planet. Millions of people with nothing wrong with them physically, but with a weariness of spirit, a complete loss of vitality. And that wouldn't take much to conquer such a planet. Well, there's one consolation. It doesn't take very much of the remedy to cure the sickness. Don't forget, every drop of the solution we had was used up here in Saturn City. Drokov controls the rest. Well, how about Dr. Arnold's experiments? Didn't he tell us that he was sure he could duplicate the chemical structure of the remedy? It's a matter of whether Dr. Arnold can stay on his feet when the job's finished. With Carol to help him, he may succeed. We can't count on Dr. Arnold performing a chemical miracle. We've got to find Drokov. It's going to be tough. We don't even know what he looks like. We've got a good ally in Gelwin. He knows Drokov's methods. He's just as anxious to capture Brokaw as we are. Get it, will you?
Yes, sir. Cadet Happy here. Yes, Sergeant. Oh, just a moment, please. Commander, it's communications.
Probably, Carol. I'll take it. Go ahead.
Hello, Buzz. How are things in Saturn City?
Well, fine, Carol. Transportation is 90% normal. Communication's a little better than that.
Wonderful. Any new cases?
None reported. Everything's pretty well under control.
Any word about Droke?
No. Gelvin hasn't reported in since 700 hours. I let him take a Space Patrol cruiser to check the lead out toward Jupiter. How are you and Dr. Arnold coming along?
Well, I'm fine. Dr. Arnold's in the Carroll Hospital. He collapsed his chest a while ago.
Is it serious?
He first had complete rest and quiet for 24 hours. He's trying to decipher his notes. Believe me, it's some job.
Are you close to anything definite, or is it too early to tell?
I don't want to be too optimistic, Buzz, but it looks good. Awfully good. The doctor's last experiment cracked the key to the protein chain.
That's great.
Only get his notes in shape. Our lab chemist has been able to make the remedy synthetic.
Fine. But don't work too hard. Remember what happened to Dr. Arnold.
So much depends on his buzz, I couldn't slow down if I wanted to.
All right, Carol. Happy and I are blasting off for Terra right away. We'll see you in a few hours.
I'll be at Dr. Arnold's lab, Buzz. And with good news, I hope.
Good luck. Hurry out.
She really sounds like she was on the right track, doesn't she?
Yes, sir. If she is, we'll be prepared for Brokaw's next epidemic of despair. Let's get to the spaceport.
Upon landing at Terra, Buzz and Happy go at once to Dr. Arnold's laboratory. There they find Carol slumped in a chair, exhausted. Scattered about the floor are crumpled slips of paper filled with chemical formulae.
Well, hi, Carol. Nobody answered our knock, so we barged right in. Hey, Carol.
Carol. Carol.
Hello, Buzz.
How did you make out?
Make out?
With experiments for the remedy.
Oh, that. Hey, it's no use. It's all so futile.
You sounded so confident in the spaceableness and something.
Oh, you're just tired, Carol. Here, I'll pick up the notes, and later when you're rested...
Throw them in the rubbish disintegrator. That's what I was going to do, and I felt up to it.
Oh, look at it. Raise your head.
Yes, sir.
Look at that. Her eyes. Like a dark circle around them. They look sort of glassy.
I thought about it. Ordinary fatigue, but something else.
Come on. She looks just like those people on Saturn.
Carol, who else has been in this lab besides you and Dr. Arnold?
No one.
Now, think carefully. Has anyone been in here? Anyone at all? Those flowers over there on the table, how did they get here?
The messenger brought them.
Where are they from?
I forget. The card's in the box.
Get it, Happy.
Oh, yes, sir.
Carol hasn't been off Terra. I think she caught the sickness here. It hasn't affected Dr. Arnold. His case is entirely different. What's on that card?
It's printed, sir. It says, to Miss Carol Carlisle with the compliments of the management of Sun Gardens, Venus.
Carol, what is this Sun Gardens, do you know?
It's a new park or something. Flowers are a promotion stunt, I suppose.
That means hundreds of baskets may have been sent out. Pat, let's look at those flowers.
There must be a dozen different kinds, eh? And what I know about flowers, you can engrave on a tulip seed.
Tulips grow from bulbs.
Proves my point.
This proves mine. Look at this thing hidden among the flowers.
A weed with a purple pod. Throw calls for it.
We've got to seal up this lab and get Carol to the hospital. And we've got to find out who else received flowers from Brokaw.
Near the banks of the turquoise river on the planet Venus is a group of buildings once used as field offices by the Venus Fruit Company. Now the small settlement serves as a base of operations for Brokaw, a criminal sought by the interplanetary police of 2 solar systems. At this moment, Brokaw stands before a small plastic dome as his accomplice, Larch Feister, emerges, cautiously shuts the door tightly, and removes the heavy mask and gloves.
I'd rather do anything in the universe than go into that dome with a wasp. Anything. Well, then you shouldn't object to your next assignment. What is it, Brokaw?
The Secretary General's daughter, Carol, is quite sick. And it appears that I am the only one who can cure her.
Well, when your plan works, you got the flowers.
Yes, most unfortunate. She was working on a process to cure the very sickness that attacked her.
Well, you told me the only cure comes from those insects in there, those wasps.
That's right, Feister. The insects feed on that plant, and their bodies develop an antitoxin. But forget the wasps. I want you to take the spaceship and contact Commander Corey.
Contact Corey?
Yes, by spaceophone. You will present my terms for curing the daughter of the Secretary General.
Now, Brokaw, listen. If you get into trouble, you can get away to another solar system, but I'm a citizen of the United Planets. I can't afford
You should have thought of that before. It's too late to back out now. Now, here are your instructions.
Elsewhere in Commander Corey's central office on Terra, Buzz inserts a spool of microtape in the playback machine.
Listen to this, Happy. Communications picked up this message and recorded it. Yes, sir.
Attention, all Space Patrol communication centers. This is a message to Commander Corey. Relay it to him immediately. I'm speaking for Drokov, the only person in the entire universe who can restore the health of Carol Carlisle. Don't waste time trying to locate the source of this signal. Just listen.
From the spaceship, isn't it?
Carol Carlisle will be completely cured if you cooperate. Bring Carol and the sum of 50,000 credits to the point in space which I will give you in a moment. Upon payment of this money, Carol will be given enough of the remedy to effect the cure. Do not attempt to capture Drokov's ship either before or after our rendezvous in space. Here are your instructions. Your ship with Carol and the 50,000 credits must be at the intersection of the Mars orbit and space meridian 84.06 at 1300 hours.
That's it, Hank. As you can see, Drokov's being very keen. If we could only grab Drokov first, we don't have any lead on him. Our agents have checked the employees of Sun Gardens and Venus. They're all clear. Drokov or one of his men managed to put that poisonous plant in the basket intended as a plant. How about the other basket? They've been examined. Carol was the only one who received the weed of the storm. How about Gelvin? Maybe he's located Drokov. No word from Gelvin. It's all up to us. What are we going to do? The one thing we can do to save Carol. Put her and the money aboard Terra 5 and head for the Mars orbit.
At 1300 hours, the Terra 5 approaches the rendezvous point. As a private cruiser draws close, Buzz and Happy wait anxiously for a spaceophone signal. But Carol, whose life depends on the success of this mission, sits bored and silent in the control compartment, showing no interest in proceedings.
That must be Drokov's ship. Why don't we cut on the spaceophone? Drokov might interpret it as a signal to other space patrols. Because of Carol, we'll have to play it Drokov's way.
Drokov calling Commander Corey aboard the Terra 5.
Here we go. Corey here. Go ahead, Drokov.
So far, Corey, you seem to have obeyed my instructions. There are no ships visible in our view scope.
They've been ordered to remain outside a 10,000 DU perimeter of this point until Carol is safely back on Terra.
That's very good. Now, when we join airlock with your ship, you will send Carol through the airlock with the 50,000 credits.
Just a matter of giving her a few ounces of the solution. Why don't you come aboard our ship?
Because I don't trust you. Send Carol into my cruiser alone.
How do I know I can trust you?
You have no other choice if you want to save Carol.
All right, join airlocks. I'll send her aboard. Corey out. Carol. Carol, are you listening?
Yes, Buzz.
Are you willing to walk alone to the airlock in the other ship?
Oh, Buzz, I'm so tired.
Carol, listen. If you do this one little thing for me, you can have a nice long nap. No one will bother you. How about it?
All right.
We're in contact, sir.
Come on, Carol. It won't take long. On your feet. I'll help you to the airlock. Steady now.
Gee, Commander, I'm getting worried. Carol's been in Drokov's ship for nearly an hour.
We're in no position to pressure him. I've got to find out what the trouble is. Corey, calling Drokov. Drokov, what's wrong over there?
Nothing, Commander. Everything's just fine.
Well, what's the delay? Shouldn't take you an hour to count 50,000 credits.
Oh, the money is quite satisfactory, Corey. I've merely been waiting for Carol to get up enough energy to return to your ship. She was in quite a weakened condition, you know.
And let one of us come and get her. I guarantee I won't try anything.
Carol is on her feet now and on her way through the airlock.
All right, Drokov, forget this. We're not cutting our holding field until we're satisfied we gave her the remedy for the sickness.
You'll see the improvement immediately, Corey. Drokov out.
You think he's telling the truth, sir? That's possible. All Carol can do to get into Drokov's ship. The remedy takes some time to have an effect.
She's at the inner hatch, sir.
All right, half open. Hi, Carol. Drokov.
I decided to bring Miss Carol back personally. And don't move. I got a gun in her back.
What's the idea, Drokov?
I changed my plans, Corey.
Carol, are you all right? Did he give you that medicine?
Yes, I drank something, but I don't understand all this. I'm afraid I said something I shouldn't.
He told me about some experiments of hers.
Buzz, I didn't realize what I was doing.
I can't let that knowledge out of my control. I'm taking the three of you with me.
But you promised.
And just to make sure there'll be no trouble... And now, Carol, If you want to keep your friends alive, you'll do as I say.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment.
Do, re, mi.
Well, Lisa, are you getting ready for a concert?
Yes, I am, Captain Two-Felt. I'm going to sing our gang's favorite song.
I'd sure like to hear that. Would you give me a little preview?
Sure. Nestles, Nestle's make the very best chocolate. How do you like it?
Oh, I love it, Issa. Matter of fact, when you sing about Nestle's new coconut bar, I think it's everybody's favorite.
I'm crazy about coconut. Gee, what a wonderful chocolate bar. So thick and sweet and smooth and rich. And all that crispy coconut inside. Golly, I just can't get enough of it.
Yes, Nestle's new coconut bar makes me feel that way, too. Can't get enough of that wonderful chocolate flavor and that fresh toasted coconut. You know, it's so crisp and so much fun to eat, I think we ought to have some right now. That is, of course, if you can eat before your concert.
Gee, I can eat a Nestle's coconut bar anytime. Smoking rockets, this is the greatest. Honestly, gang, you ought to try the sensational new Nestle's coconut bar in the red and cream-colored wrapper. Just one taste of this terrific new flavor combination, and you'll love it just as I do.
Matter of fact, Space Patrollers, you'll go for all of Nestle's rich, smooth, luscious chocolate bars. You can take your pick of rich milk chocolate, almond chocolate, crunchy crunch, or the brand new Nestle's coconut.
Whatever your favorite is, remember, Nestles, Nestle's make the very best chocolate.
And now, back to our Space Patrol adventure, The Fugitive from Tolarma. The Secretary General's daughter, Carol, was suffering from a rapid loss of vitality caused by a plant known as the Weed of Despair. Brokoff, who controls the entire supply of the only remedy, offered to cure Carol for 50,000 credits. After treating Carol, he entered the Terra 5 using the girl as a shield and rendered Buzz and Happy unconscious with a ray gun. Right now, the Space Patrollers and Carol are prisoners aboard Brokoff's private cruiser.
You're a dirty double-crosser, Brokoff. If I could get my hands
Stop
free...
wasting my time with your empty threats. Remember, I could easily have thrown you out into space.
We know why you didn't. It'd be hard to explain our disappearance to the Space Patrol when you're caught.
There is another reason, Corey. If I had destroyed you, Carol would refuse to give me the information I want.
What information?
On how antitoxin for the Weed of Despair can be produced synthetically. She and Dr. Arnold seem to have blundered onto the answer.
If I told you anything, it was because I was weak and didn't realize what I was doing. I won't tell you any more.
Oh, yes, you will. Unless you want to see your friends suffer.
Brokoff, did you ever consider what would happen if the sickness got out of control and you couldn't stop it?
No, that has happened in another solar system.
Tolarma. That's why Galvin's after me.
I will take care of Galvin just as I'm taking care of you.
What do you do with our ship? Blow it up?
No, Corey. My assistant Pfister is going to hide it on one of Jupiter's moons. It will serve as a spare star drive ship in case we suddenly have to leave your solar system.
Who's Pfister? Is he from Tolarma, too?
Oh, no. He's one of your own citizens. He'll join me on Venus in another ship after he hides the Terra 5. And now, if you will excuse me, I'll get to the controls. We are approaching Venus.
Landing near the abandoned buildings near the Turquoise River, Brokoff forces his passengers from the ship at gunpoint. He locks Carol in one building, then takes Buzz and Happy to a structure adjoining a small, transparent dome that shields the wasps and the poisonous plants.
Right in here, gentlemen.
What are you going to do with Carol?
It depends on how well she cooperates. There is a small laboratory here. Possibly she and I can manufacture a cure for the sickness.
How will you know if you've succeeded?
It's very simple. We will test it on you.
On us? We haven't got the sickness.
No, not yet. But you soon will. Do you see that air duct up near the ceiling?
What about it?
Well, it leads to that small plastic dome next to this building. When I turn a valve, air from that dome will enter this room. Air containing millions of spores from those purple weeds. And when I return, you will have lost your will to resist. You will be quiet, docile, and weak.
You're going to use us as guinea pigs, is that it?
Exactly. And if you're hoping I'll be affected too, I am very sorry to disappoint you. The remedy has made me immune to the spores. I'll see you later, gentlemen.
Now what, Commander? We'd stand a fat chance of breaking that door down. And the window's too small to crawl to.
Maybe there's something in here we could use to plug up that air duct.
There's nothing in the room. No rags, paper, anything. Oh, yeah, got it. Our jackets. If we could remove the screen from the vent and stuff our jackets in there.
Good idea.
Prokop's opened the valve. Air's feeding through from the dome.
Happen. I'll boost you up on my shoulders. You stuff your jacket into the vent. Let the sleeve hang down so we can grab it in a hurry.
Yes, sir.
When we hear Drokoff at the door, get your jacket on quickly. We put him to be weak and groggy, like Carol was.
Great.
Okay, let's work fast. Up you go. Right. How's that, Happy?
Oh, fine, sir. I can reach the vent okay. Now to take my jacket off. From the looks of that screen, it won't be any trouble. I'll just tie it off and... Uh-oh.
What's the matter?
The vent pipe is full of wasps. They must have been sucked into the dome by the rush of air. When I take the screen off, they'll come swarming into the room.
Maybe we won't be stung. Move very slowly. Most people are stung by bees and wasps because they get excited and flash their arms around. Just take it easy.
Don't worry, Commander. I will. I wonder when Drokov's coming back.
I hope it's soon. I'm afraid some of that contaminated air is getting in here in spite of the jacket. How do you feel, Happy?
To tell you the truth, I'm sort of tired.
Remember, when Drokov does come in, he comes you're weak.
If he doesn't come in pretty soon, we won't be pretending. Anyway, we didn't get stung by the wasps. You were right about moving slowly, sir. There are several in here in the room, and they haven't even come near us.
Somebody's outside. We can't pull the jacket out of the
Yes, sir. I hope it doesn't stir up the wasps.
I hope it does. Don't bother putting it on. I'm tired.
Well, gentlemen, how do you feel? Aren't you going to answer me? Well, it doesn't matter. Come on. Come on, I said.
What for?
Yes, Drokov. We aren't causing any trouble.
No, not you, but Carol is. She won't cooperate. But if she could see me work you over some, she might change her attitude. Let's go.
Oh, why don't you bring Carol here?
I said move.
Do I have to?
A very definite symptom. No sensitivity to pain. Well, maybe you will feel... What? How did they get in there?
You were all right till you stirred them up. Come on, Happy, let's get out of here.
Yes, sir.
This wasp will keep Drokov busy for a while. We'll get Carol.
I slugged him, but it didn't even phase him.
I know. The poison plan is taking effect. We're both weak. No match for Drokov.
Here's where he locked Carol up.
It's locked.
I wonder if he's got enough strength to break it down.
Let's hit it together with all we've got. 1, 2, 3. It's giving way. Once more.
Why, Pappy?
Come on, Carol. Drokov will be after us pretty quick.
Yeah, we couldn't disarm him.
Oh, if only we can get to his ship and blast off.
First, we got to get some of that remedy for the sickness. Where's the lab, do you know?
I think it's that building over there, Bobby.
Come on.
Do we have to get the remedy now? I feel fine.
It's not for you, Carol. It's for us.
Into the lab, quick, before Drokov sees us. Well, we made it. Start searching. Remember what to look for on the label, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Why, you mean that you and Hap have been infected?
That's right, Kevin. Trying to fight it, but if we don't get some of that solution soon, it'll be of no use to ourselves or anybody.
Believe me, right now, I'm just going on my own momentum.
Keep searching, Hank. We have to drop out of the fight. That just leaves Delvin to get Drokov.
Maybe Delvin's out already. We haven't heard from him in 2 days.
Happened. And then the top shelf, that bottom one.
Where? Yeah. Yes, sir, that's it. That's the remedy.
Be careful lifting it down. It's probably all there is in the whole place.
If we can only get it to Drokov's ship before he...
Where's the cow?
It's Drokov, and he's got a blast gun.
Stay right where you are. All of you.
Commander, the blast smashed the bottle. The medicine's gone.
That's right, Cadet. There's no more anywhere on Venus. Now, each minute, you'll get more and more tired. More full of despair.
Oh,
Now, Carol, you'll have to help me. If you fail, you'll see your friends lose their vitality, their will to live. Eventually, they will be too tired to breathe. Their hearts too weary.
Oh, stop it. I'll help you, but just save them.
Yeah. But first, I'll lug them up where there'll be no more trouble, where there'll be no insects to help them.
I see the wasps got in a few good jabs, Drokov. Your face and neck are all swollen.
You'll pay for those things, don't worry.
I suppose they're pretty painful.
Yes. If it's any satisfaction to you. But it's nothing serious.
That's good. And you won't mind another sting or two.
What are you talking about?
I think there's a wasp on your collar.
Yeah, he's crawling up towards your neck.
Where?
Yeah, he's a big
Where?
one, too. Hey, look out, he's buzzing around.
I'll get him.
You know, Commander, if there had been a wasp on Brokaw, you sure would have spotted it.
Pick up the gun, Hap. We'll take Brokaw to his ship.
All right, on your feet. You tricked me, Corey. But it won't do you any good. You're sick, and you'll get sicker, and nothing can save you.
We'll give you a brainograph test, and we'll know where you've hidden the remedy.
Why, there's a ship coming in. It's going to land.
That's right, Corey. And you plus that Pfizer ship, my partner. You can't get away.
We'll stay here in the lab till Pfizer gets out of the ship, then we'll grab him.
You won't get him, Commander. He'll be on guard.
Why should he be?
Because I warned him. After you two broke away from me, I went straight to the spaceophone and put on the automatic warning signal.
What are you trying to give us?
Just wait and see. Pfizer knows something is wrong here, so he won't take any chances.
I'm afraid he's right, Buzz. Pfizer could barricade himself in the ship and hold us off till the sickness took effect.
Yes, you're licked, Corey. You might as well face it.
Buzz, the hatch is opening in that ship that just landed.
Hap, see if you can tell that Pfizer's not here, but don't let him see you.
Yes, sir.
Pfizer's smart. He won't come close enough for you to trap him.
Commander, it's Galvin.
Galvin?
Yes, sir. He's running toward us, and he's all alone.
Galvin, Pfizer's ship? That's impossible.
Take a look, Brokaw. Recognize him?
It is Galvin.
Come on, Nick. Meet him. Get moving, Brokaw.
Hi, Galvin.
Commander. Happy. I'm certainly glad to see him. I was afraid I'd never see you again.
The feeling was mutual.
Commander, you got him. You got Brokaw.
Yes, but until you showed up, I wasn't sure we could hold him.
His partner, Pfizer, is locked up in the ship. And by the way, the Terra 5 is on Jupiter's third moon where Pfizer hit it. That's where I caught him. Commander, you and Happy look pretty sick.
I suppose we do. Brokaw managed to expose us to the weed of the sick.
You've got to get treatment right away.
Well, that's just the trouble. There isn't a drop of the remedy on me.
Yes, there is, Happy. There's a supply aboard Pfizer's ship.
Wow, Galvin, you're sure a lifesaver.
Certainly are. I don't know how we can repay you.
It'll be easy. Just turn Brokaw over to me.
No, Commander, no. Don't do it. You caught me. I'm your prisoner.
Well, what's the matter, Brokaw? Don't you want to go back to Tolarma?
We'll make a trade, Galvin. You turn Pfizer over to me, and you can take Brokaw.
It's a deal. Come on, Commander. You and Happy better get some of that remedy into you right away.
Okay. I feel a lot better knowing that the people in your solar system and in ours are safe in Brokaw.
Same here. Uh-oh. Brokaw, you better watch it. There's a wasp on the back of your neck.
Ah, you fool. How many times do you think you can trick me with that stupid lie? Get it off, Dane. Get it off.
It's all right. It's flying away.
Oh, my neck. Oh, the pain is terrible.
I feel for you, Brokaw. You know, it sure must be awful when a pain in the neck gets a pain in the neck.
What's new?
Nestle's new.
Nestle's what?
Coconut.
Nestle's luscious new coconut bar. That's for me. It's such a superb flavor combination. Thick, sweet, smooth milk chocolate and fresh toasted coconut. So delicious and such fun to eat because it gets crisper with every bite. Just talking about it makes my mouth water.
Me too, Commander. Whenever I think about that sensational, creamy, rich, crisp-eaten coconut bar, I get completely carried away. Can't concentrate. Can't work. And there's only one cure.
What's that?
Why, eating a Nestle's coconut bar, of course. That fixes everything.
Good idea, huh? Let's all have one. Space Patrollers, you'll really go for Nestle's wonderful coconut bar.
Smoking Rocket, you'll go for all Nestle's delicious chocolate bars, and especially our new favorite, coconut. Because, you know, Nestle's makes the very best chocolate.
You can say that again, Hap.
Gladly. Nestle's makes the very best chocolate.
Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston. Produced and directed by Larry Robertson. Executive producer Helen Moser. Other players were Virginia Hewitt, Ken Mayer, Bela Kovac, and Isa Ashdown. Dick Tufeld speaking. This week's Space Patrol was brought to you by Nestle's Eveready, the instant cocoa. Nestle's Prick for great chocolate milk, and famous Nestle's chocolate bars. This program is broadcast for Armed Forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood.
This is ABC Radio Network.